Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I hope you all are doing well and that you are somewhere inside, warm and safe. It's really getting nasty out there. Please forgive me. I had some technical challenges to get this started on time, so I had to kind of switch gears. So forgive me for that, but I worked it out, and this is what I'm going with. So, want to welcome you here today. And just to review, for the last 2 weeks, I'm doing a 28-day declutter for your best self challenge. Week 1, we focused on the workplace, and I really like to start there because it seems like the easiest place to start. And then week 2, we transitioned into the home. So this week, we've been working on our home space clutter. And just a personal share here. I love this challenge because it really helps me to stay focused just on one area. And last week I shared around my workplace clutter and some efforts I did in that area. So I'll share again today in my home clutter. I hope that this is inspiring you, maybe some areas to look at if you enjoy doing this or do this as well. Hopefully it's motivating and inspiring. So this week I am celebrating success, and in my schedule alone, I got rid of 3 things that I didn't really feel like were important, and so I said no. So I declined those things, and also I had, my entryway, which, that's an area that just, the kids come home and just dump as soon as they get home, and it just gets cluttery, out of control. It doesn't take long, honestly. So got that in order. I have this basket. It was kind of just something I didn't really have the time to deal with. And I got to the bottom of that and working to finish that up. And lastly, I did my refrigerator, which I don't know about you guys, but weekly you do surface cleaning, and then, sometimes you got to get down deeper. And I really did that. So most of those tasks, that I did this week were an hour or less. The one that took the longest was the refrigerator because it's been a little while and that needed some attention, but it felt really good. So all the other tasks that I did, all of the different areas that I focused on, they took like 15 minutes or less. And I think sometimes we get into this mode where like, I don't think I have enough time, or I don't think I have time to deal with that, where I was, shocked myself, like 15 minutes. Wow, that wasn't much at all. And so it was really kind of eye-opening that, that it didn't take a long time. And even in my refrigerator, when I took that time to declutter, it led me to some buying habits of mine that I need. You go to the store and you always are buying the same things, and I was like, then you end up throwing stuff out. And so there's always room for improvement. So I saw some areas for improvement for myself, save a little money, save some waste. And for me, I think also a huge thing is letting go of perfection. Pressuring myself that it has to all be done at the same time, where it has to be perfect or I can't spend time on it. And really, I'm a real person. I have 2 kids. I live a pretty full, amazing life. And keeping up with the clutter is a daily challenge. And hopefully some of you can relate to that. But really, an important piece of that is just keeping perspective, that, just let go of that perfection, let go of that pressure, do the best you can, and just keep living, keep enjoying your life. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Lou Monaco. I'm a certified health and life coach and an EFT level 2 practitioner. I'm doing this 28-day declutter challenge. I really like to start my years off this way, and just to declutter my life, kind of like a reset, where I want to create space for things that I care about. And I love starting this way. It feels good, feels like a good way to refocus. And I always like that. So hopefully, you are enjoying this and getting some value out of it too. So I'm enjoying it, putting it together. So enough about me already. Let's get started with today's hot topic. And we're going to start in with this quote: "State of your house reflects the state of your mind." And a lot of the content that I put out this week was really just, I wanted to bring up how when our house is in a state of chaos, or you come home and you feel like, it's constricting, or you just don't have much pleasure walking into your own home, it really affects the state of your mind. Your mind feels chaotic. I know that there's certain areas for me, if it's not like, out of control, then it feels like everything's out of control. So your house really does affect and reflect the state of your mind. When it's more at peace, when it's more at calm, then you can feel that on your own. So hopefully you got that from this week. And I wanted to share with you 2 techniques. And I know attempting to tame the clutter can be an overwhelming task. And trust me, I totally get it. And I've had to deal with clutter my entire life, it feels like, from my childhood home to owning my own home and having kids. It's just a part of life, I think. But there even have been times where I feel like, you try and just, it seems like it never ends. But when clutter persists, then it's something that you need to look at internally, and the why, asking yourself those questions. So I have 2 techniques this week that we are going to talk about. One is tune into your clutter, and then the second one is tapping to clear the overwhelm. All right, so in the first technique is tuning into the clutter. And I know that this may sound wacky and you may laugh at me, but I'm totally okay with that. And but tune into your clutter when you look around your area, particular area of your home. So if there's a problem area, what I want you to do right now is visualize in your mind that problem area, just so that when we talk through these things, you can have something in your mind. And I really want you to visualize it. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask it some questions. And I know that seems weird to think about talking or having a conversation with a pile of something. But I'll just take you back to that 80s show Fraggle Rock, right? They had a trash heap. And this is helpful for some people. They had a trash heap, and the trash heap had like a face, and it was very wise. And long story, but basically, you can, if that helps you to have a conversation with it, you ask it a question and then it answers back to you. You could do that where you kind of make it a character, and that will help you to resolve why you're unable to deal with this thing. You're able to find the real reason that you can't deal with it. And I know, making it a character, making it, an object, that helps some people. But really what you're doing is, asking yourself from within. So now for this technique, for this sort of thing, we're going to ask a few questions like, why don't I want to deal with it? What's important that I'm holding on to this pile? Why am I avoiding it? Why am I procrastinating? Why can't I recycle that? Why can't I respond to that? What's holding me back? What's preventing me from really taking care of it? What am I afraid of? Or what am I fearful of? And why does it annoy me so badly? These are all really good questions to ask that pile, right? So what I do is, if it's okay, I'll share a personal example of how this would work. Okay, so we have this countertop in our house, and it becomes the catch-all. I'm sure you all have it. Hope you all do. I know I'm not alone. So, I'm really good about certain things, like going through the mail regularly, recycling things. But if it's like, financial statements, bills that I have to deal with, kids' donation stuff, some artwork that comes in through the week. Basically, if I don't have time at the time to deal with it, which I don't, it goes into this pile. And I'm really good at, like, at the end of the week, I, clear that off and I'm able to separate and get rid of it. But there's some things that I just am avoiding. Okay. So for me, I'll just be honest. One of the things that I avoid are, the financial statements. And I'll just share this with you, just to be honest and real, to show you the emotion of why I don't want to do that. Because what does that represent? What does that represent to me? And what that represents is really an avoidance of it, time, managing so many things, like so many other people's finances, so many other people's paperwork. And what this does is it puts me in this state of I want to avoid my own, it's just, I don't have the time to deal with it, especially, when you start your own business, all this stuff accumulates. Also the set it and forget it, I think, culture that we have right now, you set everything up with bill pay, and it brings this sense of disconnect, right? You're disconnected from your finances a little bit. Are you guys with me? That you can just kind of, let things lag for a little bit and then kind of set things on autopilot. So it allows that disconnection to happen. But honestly, that does cost you more time and money when you avoid, staying on top of things. So what this represented to me was, like really facing my finances, really taking the time to sit down and do it. And I think here that inner perfectionist in me, I love organization. I love finances. I love doing that. And I get angry when I don't have the time to do it the way that I want. So like that perfectionism, and that representation of time to sit down and really do it the way that I want was really, it holds me back. And then I avoid it, or I procrastinate. And then it kind of gets to this point where then it seems too big. Do you know what I mean? So when I look and tune into the emotion behind that represents a lot. That's a lot of emotion there. And there's a lot of layers if you heard me walk through that. So you can likely see that, when you see these piles in your own home, to have that conversation with yourself. I'll just go back here for just a second. Sorry, wrong way. Really wrong way. Okay. So the questions that I asked it, why don't I want to deal with it? What's important that I'm holding on to this pile? Why am I procrastinating? You can see how you can answer yourself in these ways. And then when you can identify those emotions, when you can give those a voice, then you really start to say, okay, I can handle that. Okay, I understand where that's coming from, and I can't avoid that any longer. I see, that's costing me money, or I see that not connecting with that, my grocery bill is getting out of control, or you can see how that infiltrates into other areas of your life, and then you can begin making those changes to clear that up. So I think identifying it and tuning into it instead of, pushing it back or avoiding it, it really helps to tune into that clutter. Okay, so that's the first technique. And so the other technique that I have is tapping. And so I am an EFT level 2 practitioner, and I really find that one of the best ways to deal with clutter is resolving that emotional response, resolving that the energy that comes up or that's sucking you, or dealing with really the overwhelm of that situation. It could be, I gave a couple good examples, but it can be anything for you, anything that's irritates you, annoys you, anything that's cluttered. And it's really interesting when we're dealing with clutter, because it feels like it's a systematic problem. I'm just not organized enough, or therefore, the space continues to be cluttered. It's like a perpetual problem. But oftentimes there's so many emotional components behind the clutter. Like I mentioned, we might be afraid of the information hiding inside of the clutter. For example, a pile of unopened mail might make you fear that if I go through that pile of mail, then I have to confront all the bills that I have to pay. Or there's this pile of stuff from something that we're going to try to achieve at some point, and we've stopped doing it. So it almost represents disappointment, failure, guilt. Sifting through the details and pieces of that thing will make it difficult for us, because we have to admit in some points that we failed, or we didn't do something, or guilt or shame. So you can see that there's a lot that comes up. There's a lot that comes up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap. This is a total tap along, and I'm not going to go into all of the ways that tapping is pretty amazing, but basically what tapping does is you tap on the meridian points in your body. It uses it uses the same meridians as acupuncture. That's why it's often called acupuncture without the needles. Basically, you tap on points on your body, and what that does is it balances your energy and reduces your stress. And we bring in, we talk through it. So it brings in and identifies those emotions and really helps bring down that stress level. So we're going to do that today. Hope you're into it, and let's just give it a try. So right now, we're just going to talk about the basic tapping points. Okay, so the karate chop point, which is right here in the fleshy part of your hand, outside of the hand, just with 2 fingers. I'm just going to tap lightly there. We'll go through a statement and say it 3 times. So if you feel comfortable, go ahead and do this along with me and just see how you feel. See how you feel before when you really tune into that pile. Think about that as we walk through this, and as if you're feeling that overwhelm, gauge the intensity. Okay, so we're starting the karate chop point, and then we'll go through the basic points, and you can see me as I do this, so follow along. And the other points are the eyebrow point, which is right here next to your eyebrow, the outside of eye, which is on the orbital bone right outside the eye, under the eye, which is directly below the pupil, kind of on that bone. And you can just gently tap. You don't have to be really hard about it, just tapping just like I am right now. Above, on the nose, right between the nose and the lips. The chin point, which is in that indentation in your chin. Collarbone, which is kind of near the bony part where that collarbone area is. Just tap nice and lightly. And then underarm, which is for the women, it's on the bra line or about 3 or 4 inches below the armpit. And top of head, which is right on the crown of the head. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start, and then we'll go through these basic tapping points, and we're going to start. It'll kind of seem like, we're starting on the negative, but we have to bring those things to light. We have to bring that emotion. So we're going to do some tapping on the overwhelm, and then I'll take a brief little break, take a deep breath, and then we'll bring in a positive round. So you can see how we're identifying it, and then we're integrating some of that positive in. Okay. And then at the end, we'll see how you feel, and we'll go from there. Okay. So just going to bring this up. All right. So tapping on the karate chop point. Even though I feel overwhelmed by this pile, I love and accept myself. And we're just going to do some mirroring here. So go ahead and repeat back after me after I say this. So I'll just give you a moment to do that. Even though I feel overwhelmed with this pile, I love and accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed with this pile, I love and accept myself. Even though I feel overwhelmed with this pile, I love and accept myself. I know there is a huge amount of clutter that I need to deal with. It feels so overwhelming. It feels like I'm never going to finish. It's never going to get done. Those piles really stress me out. I don't even know what I'm going to discover in there. I don't even want to deal with it. It's too heavy and too overwhelming. Just going to switch sides. I'm worried about what I might discover. I also recognize that it feels like too much work. I've tried to stay on top of it, but it never really goes away. It takes too much time and energy. It feels like it's never actually going to get done. I feel like I might be in this cluttered mess forever. And holding on to this clutter is safer than dealing with it. This clutter that overwhelms me. Okay, so go ahead and take a deep breath in. And if you have a piece of paper handy, as I went through that, did anything come up for you? Did something that I say really resonate with you or stand out to you? So just go ahead and jot that down. And then, if you want to do some more tapping on your own, you can just do a total round of that. So we did one side and then we did the other. I like to balance it out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do another round and we're going to bring in, integrate some of the positive things in. So if you feel like you want to stay in the negative a little bit more, use your own voice. Go through that. Just keep going as you talk through your frustration, talk through your overwhelm, talk through what, maybe you're angry, maybe you're upset, maybe anytime you do it, it makes you feel like, you feel stress in your body or you just feel completely overwhelmed. And just tune into it. Whatever language came up for you, use that as it can just keep it really simple, but just keep tapping through it and it'll help relieve that stress and help you feel better. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do a positive round. And we're going to start on the eyebrow point. Today, I'm choosing to see this in a new way. I acknowledge that if I take it a little bit at a time, if I clean this up bit by bit, all these small efforts will add up. It will make a huge difference. Even if it's not perfect, even if I can't do it all at once, I know I just need to start. Every little bit of cleaning I do will lead me closer to having this completed. I just feel in my body that I'm holding on to this for some reason. And I really want to create more space for myself. Creating more space feels like freedom. Freedom to let go of all that I'm holding on to. Freedom to create movement and flow in my life. Making my space more enjoyable. More comfortable. Even if I only do some of it. It will make such a difference in the long run. Today, I give myself permission to allow that to happen. To see this as a gentle process. And this is a process I'm choosing for myself. No pressure or perfection. Seeking peace in my home and mind. I know each thing that I release, I'll feel better. This doesn't have to be all at once. I can take it one step at a time. It can be gradual, and that's okay. I'm ready to begin now. I'm ready to begin now. I'm ready to begin now. I'm excited to begin now. I can breathe a lot easier when I let it go. I can breathe a lot easier when I let it go. I can breathe a lot easier when I let it go. Okay. So as I'm just going to switch back here. So what did you think of that? What did you think of that tapping as we went through, gauge the intensity? Did that calm you? Did that calm you? Did that ease some of the barriers that were leaving you stuck or leaving you in the overwhelmed state? And I just, it's a really gentle process, but I really love that it brings a physicality to it, touching your body, reconnecting with those emotions and what might be holding you back. So those two techniques today are tune into the clutter and tapping to clear the overwhelm. And I guess I went right through that, didn't I? Sorry. All right, so just to wrap it up, we have 2 more weeks coming up. Next week is material, and then we have mental clutter, all really good topics. I encourage you to go to my website. You can look at all of the content up there, lifehealthbestself.com, declutter/declutter. There's a link there if you want to sign up to get that content by email. If you prefer to have it that way, it's totally available to you. And I want to thank you here today. I want to thank you for giving tapping a try. I want to thank you for your support. And I am here for you. If there's any way that I can support you more, go ahead and reach out to me. You can email me. You can message me Facebook. And also, I am running a special right now. I have a program. It's called the 7-Day Mindset Reset Program. If you're looking to shift your mindset. If you're in a negative mindset and you're looking to bring more positivity in your life and to just work on some reframing, it's a really great program, getting excellent reviews. Really excited to put this out there. And if you're interested in that, reach out to me and I can get you in touch with that. For tonight, have a good night. Thanks for being here. Until next time.